as you can see, it updated 21. Okay, for shot 1. But then I have to choose a renderable camera. Now, by the way, do not bother making a Uber camera. Don't do that. Right, because the Uber camera ain't gonna do nothing. Specifically regarding your render sequence, it won't do anything. It's a different story if you're doing render batch renders, but for us, render sequence and Uber camera, they don't work together. So hence the reason why we have to make render layers. Anyway, select the camera, shot 1. Name your cameras, right? Or stuff that makes sense. Create absolute override. Collection, shot 1. Shape. Shape basically tells us that Maya communicates within itself, naming things like shape at the end of it, like camera and then shape. Absolute override renderable. See, renderable. Now, regarding the camera, this might be the other issue. Your camera, make sure you have shape. Make sure you have shape. Don't screw around in here and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, leave it the hell alone, and to avoid headache for yourself, and especially to avoid headache for me. Leave it alone. You can change this, but make sure to keep the shape. I don't know the latest version of Maya, but I know for a fact, at least with the previous version, things get jacked up when you take away shape for the camera and the light. But especially with working with render layers, don't mess around with this word shape. Make sure it's there. I mentioned this in the PDFs. Okay, so that's set. So I got shot 1. Okay. And then if I select this container within the camera sequencer, right, and you see how the attribute editor, it changed, right? Make sure things are make sense, right? Start frame 1, end frame 21, blah blah blah, right? The scale, make sure it's set to 1. Don't screw around with the scale either. Make sure this is set to 1. Okay. Shot name, shot 1. Make sure these things match, right? This is not the camera. This is the sequencer container. Okay. When I had to select this is the actual camera. If I select this changes. If I select this again, now it changes. Make sure you have shape at the end. If you want to name cameras, name it from here. Do not name it from here. Alright, so we got the camera set up, we got the render settings, right? HD 1080, right? Arnold render, set this to 10. And then imagers, okay? You want to have your optics, denoiser optics. If you're working from home, which I do not recommend, because I don't know if if you have a suitable GPU rendering, right? So I do not recommend rendering from home unless you are sure you have an NVIDIA graphics card. If you're working from home, you can set this to 7. If your graphics card is not the greatest, assuming you have an NVIDIA graphics card in the first place, right? If you don't have a graphics card, you have to do CPU. But I recommend working from school. So you got all of that. Alright, that's 16 minutes. Next. Okay. TIFF, int16, use view transform, name.number.extension, start end frame, right? Render absolute override the shot 1. Got your presets, image size, Arnold render 10, 7 if you're working from home with a computer that's not as strong of a GPU. Imagers, denoiser optics, rate depth, set it to minimum of 2 and 2. Okay, system, GPU, check this on, highlight your GPU. Okay, as you can see here, render layer 1. Next, from here, right click, create collection. So this collection is your renderable camera. This collection, it's to, this collection, is to make this, to grab, only grab this, 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 and this. And you're gonna, collection 1, add. See, now you can see it. Okay. Then, I forgot one thing. This right here. Right click, create absolute override. And there it is. File, image file prefix. Okay. Make sure you have this. And usually this should be dumped. Ooh. I middle mouse, I can drag it here. Or maybe not. It won't let me. Anyway, so you guys start and image file prefix, which is this one. Right? Make sure you have this, this, this. And then also, like I'm just reviewing again, make sure you have your collection, separate collection, only this, only your ball, whatever secondary assets, your sky dome light, and this. Do not put in your cameras, do not put in your cameras, right? Just avoid any potential issues, do not put in your cameras. All the students that blew up their project, they had the cameras in 2 containers, this one and this one, right? Like they grabbed all their cameras. Do not do that. Just freaking do this. All right. Next. So shot 1 is set up. Now I need to make a new render layer. I'm gonna click on this. And I'm just gonna give a simpler name, render layer _2, enter. Okay. See this, render layer 1? Once I click here, render layer 2. Render layer 2, nothing inside. First thing I want to do is this. Create absolute override for visible layer. Boom. I have both of these checked on, which is good, right? I have this on. Render settings, create absolute override image, file, prefix, right? Then frame range, create absolute override. End frame, create absolute override. Now, for shot 2, I have 15. I'm gonna type in 15. Ends at 38. Ends at 38. And when I look here, 15, 38. So we're good. Right? Next, renderable camera, shot 2. Because this we're talking about render layer 2, shot 2, shot 2. I need to make this a create absolute override. There's my camera right here. You see that camera? See? This is why I say don't grab all the cameras and dump it into a collection. Don't do that. Right? Check, check. Now I need to populate my scene, my alternate little universe that I'm gonna render out. select the render layer 2, right click, create collection. Select your collection, grab these, only these, add, right? Oh, so you see this and you see shot 1, right? So don't worry, see, because I just gotta move this, right? So you can just see it here. It doesn't really, matter. I just want to show it so you guys don't get confused. Render layer 2, renderable camera, shot 2, render layer 2, render layer 2, see? If I click this, render layer 1, right? Oh, and also, when you go back, whenever you make a new camera, it leaves this behind, right? So you just want to delete that. This is render layer 1, renderable camera, shot 1, render layer 1, okay? And then when I click this, and then this, render layer 2, render layer 2, renderable camera, shot 2, okay? So that's all set, right? Then, so we got our collection, right? Which is these. Then we have our camera, right? Shot 2, shot 2. Then your render settings, your image file prefix, start end frame,